All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Simply Cyber's First Things First, your morning daily, at least weekday daily, cybersecurity threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger. You guys are all chat, and you're actually what makes this train run. We're going to go through the top news stories of the day. I'll give you my take on all of them. We'll have a good time. We'll have some coffee, we'll have some laughs, and we'll get started. Having a great week. How's everybody doing? Hey, Keith. Hey, Lupe. Hey, Brian Peak. Thanks for the squad membership. Brian, I saw you in there. James Driscoll, good to see you. Anthony, hello. Geez, Pamela, 3 degrees. Please stay warm. Stay safe. I got this little countdown timer now. We'll officially start when the timer goes. I figure 3 minutes is a pretty good situation. Hey, Jax. Always great to see you. Garrett, good morning. David, how are you? Oh, yeah. Stella, Alexis, you're always in here. Always good to see you in the live streams. I know you catch them on the replays. Good morning, Eric. Hey, Simon. Top of the morning to you. If that's what British people say, I don't know. I don't know. I think my understanding of what British people are is warped by like Hollywood media. So I apologize. Good to see you, Damon. BSEC, always nice. Casey. Shout out to my man, Base. Base starting a new cybersecurity job today. First day. Way to go, Base. Get some. Hey, LinkedIn. Love the Brits. I agree. Pip and all that. Cracking me up. It's been a minute. I haven't seen you in the streams. I hope you're well. Hope everything's good. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Recharged the batteries. I got a little bit of a haircut, you may have noticed. The missus cleaned me up. I was getting a little scraggly. Drinking out of my Simply Cyber mug. Thank you. And props to Jack Scott for picking up our first crop top from the merch store. Hopefully that's a good product. Reach out to me, Jax. Let me know if it's good. Jess, I saw you in there. Kimberly, I saw you in there. Thank you, Sitsu. I'll let my wife know. She does great work. Guys, I'm so happy. I love the morning streams. We'll get started in 1 minute, 6 seconds. We've got a banging week because I get up at like 6. I didn't look at the news stories. I never look at the news stories of the day, but I do go through some of my email. And I get threat briefing intel from other sources. And I've looked at a couple of things, and I've got some. I hope there's a story in here about CIS's newest exploited vulnerabilities they released. I dug into it a little bit. Thanks, Pete. Smash that like button. Yep. And really, guys, if you can, smashing the like is really, really good. But if more importantly, I'm interested in building a community and helping people. If you like the live streams and you want to tell someone else about the morning live streams, go to simplycyber.io/FTF, and that will dump the person right into the YouTube upcoming live streams. And I've mapped out like 2 weeks worth of the daily threat intels. Again, if you want to keep the conversation going, head on over to simplycyber.io/Discord, because that's where we get spicy. All right, everybody, let's be good. Let's do it. If you want to play along, you know the routine, y'all. We go to cisoseries.com, and that's where we get our daily threat intel from. Before we get into it real quick, I do want to say thank you to squad members for supporting the channel and supporting the show. Nicholas Stein, Michelle Murphy, Jess Bishop in here, Russell Bryant. Russell with the brown logo, meaning he's been here a couple. Bryant, like I said, Kimberly, InfoSec Live, Arturo, Janice Williams, Tom Pike. You guys are so great. I really genuinely appreciate it. If you're in the Discord and you don't have the squad member role, ping me directly and I will make sure that you get it, because you definitely deserve it for supporting the channel. All right, guys, let's get into it.
It's Monday, January 31st, 2022. Novel device registration trick enhances multi-stage phishing attacks. Microsoft has shared details of a large-scale phishing campaign that leverages stolen credentials to register devices on a target's network to extend the attack to other enterprises. The attack exploits the concept of bring your own device by registering a device using freshly stolen credentials. The second stage of the campaign, observed by Microsoft, was successful against victims that did not implement multi-factor authentication. In this scenario, threat actors were able to register their own rogue devices into the victim's network. Microsoft provides recommendations to defend against multi-staged phishing campaigns, such as enabling MFA, adopting good credential hygiene, and implementing network segmentation.
Okay, so interesting concept. I don't think anyone's going to get a Nobel Prize for threat actor here, but interesting idea. BYOD, or bring your own device, is a fairly common practice. Businesses love it because they don't have to buy you hardware, right? It's good for the money, right? Always follow the money. But the threat vector here is that you compromise an individual's credentials, and instead of logging into their Outlook and start setting up forwarding rules or doing business email compromise, you immediately use it to register a device of your own. So some control that you own, whether it's a phone, a tablet, whatever. And then you use that device as a trusted device inside the network to then phish individuals who are inside the same domain. The key thing here: doesn't work if you have multi-factor authentication. Please put multi-factor authentication in. I understand it's not easy, but you know what? I've done this a couple times as far as a rollout goes. This is going to be painful, but the easiest way, unless you're talking about like the energy sector, maybe, because you can't have a blip, but like the easiest way is to turn it on, right? Communicate out, hey, we're going to be doing this, here's what you do, make a video, here's how you install the app, here's who you talk to get it enrolled, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Turn it on. You know what the most effective way of getting people to come to you is if they cannot access their resources. I guarantee you could run a volunteer campaign for like 6 months and you might get a third of the organization to adopt it. You turn it on, within a week, you'll get the entire organization adopted into it. It's a little, I mean, you blow a ton of political capital, and I'd recommend that you get the executives onboarded first, give them what we call like white glove treatment or high touch treatment. Make sure that they're looking good, but for the masses, turn it on. Just do it. It's too important a control to screw around.
U.S. bans major Chinese telecom over national security risks. The Federal Communications Commission has revoked one of the world's largest mobile service providers, China Unicom America's license over, quote, serious national security concerns, end quote. This effectively bans the telecom company from providing domestic and international telecommunications services within the United States. The FCC stated, quote, the order finds that China Unicom Americas, a U.S. subsidiary of a Chinese state-owned enterprise, is subject to exploitation, influence, and control by the Chinese government and is highly likely to be forced to comply with Chinese government requests without sufficient legal procedures subject to independent judicial oversight, end quote.
Interesting. Okay, so a couple things are here, right? So a major corporate entity, read that as business, is banned in the United States because they're a Chinese telecom. Not because they did anything wrong, not because they are eavesdropping on our communications or anything like that, but because the United States has deemed that this telecom would be too likely to be influenced by the Chinese government and then lead to, taps and stuff like that. So a couple things come to mind here when I read this. One, it's interesting. This is a kind of a broad stroke. Like when you're messing with like real money, like if it's the largest Chinese national telecarrier in the United States, that's huge, right? So you're affecting like revenue and stuff like that. That's a big decision to make, and then back it up. So obviously, it just seems like more of the, there's certain countries that are kind of aligning to each other, and there's two sides of the fence, really. This seems like another kind of piece of the puzzle as far as growing tension between large countries like the United States and China. The other thing that's worth mentioning here, and if you worked in the military space or the federal IT space and you happen to have a security clearance, then you know as well as I do, when you get a security clearance, they go through and they look at you, right? They look at your background, your finances, your marriage, your relationships, your drug history, criminal history. They look at everything, right? And what they are trying to determine is how likely are you to be influenced and give up secrets or give access or do whatever. And this is like the same thing, except at like a corporate level. I just think it's interesting because this company hasn't done anything wrong yet, but the likelihood of influence is too high. And if you break it down into a micro level, it's very similar to when they're looking at you as an individual. You may not have done anything yet, but if you really like to bet on the ponies, it's easy to be like for espionage tactics to break you down, get you into debt, and then, oh, you can get out of debt if you just give us access to XYZ.
Over 20,000 data center management systems exposed to hackers. Researchers have found over 20,000 instances of publicly exposed data center infrastructure management software that monitor devices, HVAC control systems, and power distribution units, which could be used for a range of catastrophic attacks. Years of pursuing operational efficiency have introduced lights-out data centers, which are fully automated facilities managed remotely and generally operating without staff. In most cases, the applications used default passwords or were severely outdated, allowing threat actors to compromise them or override security layers fairly easily. Exposing these systems without adequate protection means that anyone could change temperature and humidity thresholds, configure voltage parameters to dangerous levels, deactivate cooling units, turn consoles off, put UPS devices to sleep, create false alarms, or change backup time intervals.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're saying here is I don't know. It gets an eye roll for me. Like, you know why you can't automate everything and remove humans from the system? Why Terminator, the movie, Skynet, is because stuff like this. Yeah, okay, let's make it a fully automated data center. Let's add cool graphics so management can like swoop through the data center and see everything as if they were a bird. Very cool. You know what? You turn the heat up in there, there's no human to actually feel it. You disable the monitors and you cook the data center. Like, I'm not surprised if you're going to go like for a fully automated building and have it run a data center of many companies' important assets, like the IT backbone of a business or businesses. You have to have high level security control. As far as I'm concerned, like really beef up your security and have like real monitoring, right? Like real log monitoring. Put syslog, sysmon on everything. Run stateful packet inspection. Like you got to be looking at this thing, right? You can't just remove all humans from it. You have to have humans watching the site, even if they're not physically there. It's just annoying. Like, listen, here's a truth. Labor is the biggest line item on any business's list of expenses. So management is always looking to reduce their manpower expense on their balance sheet. And you can't just automate everything out. It's annoying. Like, ugh. All right, let's keep it going.
Android malware factory resets your phone after stealing your money. Research published earlier this week describes an Android banking malware that has the ability to factory reset your device after stealing your money. The malware in question is called Brata, B-R-A-T-A, which is short for Brazilian Remote Access Tool Android, and originally appeared in Brazil several years ago. It has since spread to many other parts of the globe. Researchers with the security firm Cleafy wrote last week that the newest version of the malware, first spotted in December, has a number of additional features that give criminals an even better advantage over their victims than previous iterations. Brata developers are known to use fake, Trojanized apps to infiltrate victims' phones. Such apps can be trafficked onto Google Play or other legitimate sites, where they then ensnare unsuspecting users.
Okay. So in case you guys didn't get it, or just so I reiterate for my own self, Android banking malware, it steals your creds, probably moves some money, could be crypto. I didn't get into all that, but basically it's stealing your money. What's interesting with this one is it has a wiper capability in it. Now, normally malware doesn't wipe itself after the fact, because attackers spent all that time, all the resources and capital to compromise and own your phone. Why would they want to release it, right? I mean, they can add it to a botnet. You might put more money in. They could exfil data, pull pictures off your phone, eavesdrop. Like, there's a million things. Like, once you own the device as a bad guy, burning it is not really that great an idea. It seems like in this situation, they've added it almost as a kill switch, where they're saying, okay, listen, we've exhausted this person's finances. Just wipe the phone to remove all evidence of the wrongdoing, and then let's move on. That way, they think, they're confused as to what's going on, because not a lot of people are really going to take their phone and get it forensically analyzed. They're just going to, be pissed that they lost their money and lick their wounds, unless it was significant, and then they may take it to law enforcement. So, interesting idea. Just be on the lookout. Don't install unknown apps into your Android environment. Banking malware is going to be banking malware. So, yeah. Hey, Helly, I don't know what passy means. It must be a conversation in chat. I might have missed it. BSEC. The term is be more efficient. Yeah, exactly, BSEC. Do more with less.
And now, a word from our sponsor, so stay tuned.
Do more with less. You know what? Another thing you see, I won't go on a tangent on this, but another thing you see is like someone leaves and then they don't backfill the position. They just distribute the responsibilities with the remaining staff, and somehow it gets done. So then why do we need to backfill? Ugh. I don't want to get on that tangent. That's something
of the day. Or visit Pentera.io.
Ooh, this one looks good.
Pentera.io to find out more. North Korean hackers using Windows Update service to infect PCs with malware. The notorious Lazarus Group has been observed mounting a new campaign that makes use of the Windows Update service to execute its malicious payload. Detected by Malwarebytes on January 18th, it originates from weaponized documents made to look like they're from Lockheed Martin. Opening the emailed Microsoft Word attachment executes a malicious macro that, in turn, executes a base 64 decoded shellcode to inject a number of malware components into the explorer.exe process. The next phase, drops_lnk.dll, leverages the Windows Update client to run a command that loads a second module under cover of a legitimate update.
Okay. Just give me a second, y'all. Okay, so a couple things here worth noting. One, Lazarus Group is a legit APT, right? This is North Korea's financially motivated APT, and they have some really famous attacks that they're attributed to, including the Bangladeshi bank heist. If you haven't heard of this, I believe Jack Resider on Darknet Diaries has an episode on the Bangladeshi bank heist. It's worth, if you got an hour drive somewhere, or you're just, whatever, stuck at the dentist office waiting, like whatever, it is an excellent contained story of how you can use cybersecurity techniques in a very complicated environment to execute a bank robbery, and Lazarus Group's responsible for it. Lazarus is no joke. So, I guess I'm telling you that so you might be aware of Lazarus. You might want to look them up. You might want to check out the Bangladeshi bank heist, where they tried to steal $1 billion and almost got away with it, except for a typo. Insane. This right here, this attack is fine. It's interesting. But you'll note right here on the left, where it says malicious document injects code into explorer.exe. Don't run macros on Office documents, especially Microsoft Word. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that they use the Microsoft Word logo here, but they're pushing it through Excel because more likely you see macros in Excel than Word. Don't run macros. Educate your end users not to run macros. Once you run the macro, you're executing code as the local privileges. And then, these guys are next level. So they'll just privilege escalation up. And then this is all living off the land too, by the way. This is injecting into existing processes. This is using Windows Update client as like kind of not a Trojan, but like this is where it's going to sit, right? So this is all existing executables and DLLs on your system. So you don't want to you won't see it really unless you're looking for process injection in your EDR. Long story short, educate your end users not to install run macros, and make sure that your EDR is able to detect PowerShell executing inside explorer.exe, or like when you see like Microsoft Word create a cmd.exe process, that's not good. Microsoft Word shouldn't be popping shells. Okay. You don't want that.
Surge in malicious QR codes sparks FBI alert. The FBI is warning people to remain vigilant when using QR codes, whose popularity has increased over the past 2 years as a contactless way to do things in person, such as select from a restaurant menu or to do banking.
Mm-hmm.
The warning identifies typical threats one would expect, such as the QR code sending a person to a spoofed site and also allowing malware to be downloaded. They warn that QR codes can be easily manipulated, including by simply placing a sticker of a different code over the original. However, 87% of respondents in a recent poll from Ivanti said they felt secure carrying out financial transactions using QR codes.
Okay, so real quick, Andres Escobar asked really quick, what's a macro? A macro is basically VBA code, Visual Basic for Applications, which is the native language inside Microsoft Office documents. Microsoft Windows kind of supports it as a language, and you can write it to run code, open network connections, create processes. Basically it's like code. It's like code you can run. Okay, now back to this guy, QR codes. This is legit, guys. You've probably gone to a restaurant in the last year and they have these QR codes. I think I actually have one for Simply Cyber. Look, this is an example of a QR code right there in the top right. It goes to Simply Cyber, not some malicious website, but it's a QR code. And if you point your camera at it, right? Like at least on iPhone, I'm sure Android does it. Like literally, if you just point a camera at it, it's going to detect a QR code and it's going to say open Chrome or open Safari, whatever your default browser is. It doesn't, we educate our end users to look for like weird domain names, right? Like Microsoft.ck or, Microsoft with a 1 instead of an I, right? Like find these weird things. QR codes, you can't see what it is. It's your phone renders the QR code and takes you to the website. So it's very easy to set up a landing page that looks very much like Facebook's login or very much like Google's login. And then it can be a phishing site. They can steal your creds, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got to educate your end users to be aware of kind of the threat. And the nice thing about this particular one is that the QR codes and the risk of it extend way beyond your, work environment, right? You're probably not even really using them that much at work, but people are seeing them at restaurants, in bus stops and stuff like that. So you can use this as an opportunity to help them personally secure themselves, start baking in that great cyber hygiene behaviors and get them to kind of start aligning as like, this is a good thing. I want to share this knowledge with others. I will tell you guys right now, I've made a 45, if you guys know me, you know that I make these like little 45-second, 60-second videos for my organization on best practices, things to look out for. I've done a QR code one. If you guys want, I might go look at it just to make sure, to see if I made it like company agnostic, where I don't mention my company's name. I just say, hey, here's the risk. If I did, I will post it to YouTube and drop it into LinkedIn later today and just say, hey, everybody, if you want a quick little reminder video, instead of you guys having to make it yourself, you could just send them that one. I'll do that if people see value in that. Okay, let's keep on rolling.
HP wins.
By the way, real quick, this is a great opportunity to Rickroll someone too, right? Make a YouTube Rickroll QR code and slap it at the local restaurant right over where the menu is, because they usually stick the menu on the center of the table with like a glass top over it. That is all.
Multi-billion-dollar fraud case over Autonomy sale. Cambridge-based Autonomy was sold to the U.S. tech giant for $11 billion in 2011. HP sued its founder and former chief financial officer, claiming they, quote, artificially inflated Autonomy's reported revenues, revenue growth, and gross margins, end quote. Presiding Judge Mr. Justice Hilliard said HP had substantially won its case. This is believed to be the UK's biggest civil fraud trial, which was heard over 9 months in 2019. UK Interior Minister Priti Patel has ruled that Lynch can be extradited to the US to face criminal charges related to the sale of the company.
Good.
China pilots nation.
Good. I mean, not a huge security thing, but I guess it's worth mentioning. Basically, this is just fraud, right? Kimberly bought Principles of Fraud Examination, so she knows what's going on. My favorite textbook of all time. Yes, I said it. My favorite textbook. I have a favorite textbook. Principles of Fraud Accounting. Absolute fantastic. It is a blueprint on how to commit every single identified, comprehensively exhausting all forms of how to commit financial fraud. And this guy right here, he's no stranger to committing fraud because that's what he did. He basically overinflated the price of a company using the books to, kind of cook the books to make it look better than it was. And then he sold it to HP for $11 billion when it looks like it was worth less than half of that. So this dude probably going to go to jail, probably going to lose that $2,000 suit he's wearing right there. He's definitely not going to be smiling. And we'll see. We'll see. Not a big cybersecurity story, but whatever. It's worth mentioning.
Wide blockchain development over real-world use cases. The Cyberspace Administration of China announced the commencement of an in-house effort to expedite blockchain development and innovation across 15 zones and 164 entities. Key areas of blockchain development include manufacturing, energy, government, data sharing and services, law enforcement, taxation, criminal trials, inspection, copyright, civil affairs, human society, education, healthcare, trade finance, risk control management, equity markets, and cross-border finance. Despite a strong stance against crypto adoption, the Chinese government continues to show interest in related ecosystems, including blockchain and NFTs.
Okay. No surprise here. Okay. So the blockchain in general doesn't care who you are or where you are. It's like geopolitically agnostic, right? That's part of the benefit of it. It's decentralized. That's what blockchain is. It's an actual real ledger that's decentralized and doesn't care what your politics are. I'm not surprised. China's developing their own internal one so they can, I guess, control it and potentially I don't know. But this is interesting, not surprising. You could also see a situation where China begins to develop their own national currency, national digital currency that relies on this particular blockchain in order to run that currency. So then, basically the government can continue to control the economy and not decentralize it, but still make it crypto. That's a theory. I'm not a crypto expert. That's Charles Finfrock. We'll give him that title. So nothing really to see here. It's just it's a case of trying to take something that's decentralized that obviously has a lot of support from society and take it over. So that's what I'm seeing on that. Okay, yeah, let's go back to chat. All right.
It might be Monday, but it's never.
Oh, all right. So that does it for our whoops, sorry, wrong button. Okay, guys. So that's going to do it for our top news stories for the day. I hope you guys feel empowered and ready to rock and roll with your day. Like I said at the beginning, if you got value out of this, yes, hit the like button. If you want to be notified when I go live, yeah, hit the bell for notifications. But that's not really the most important thing that I could ask you to do. If you think someone else is going to get value out of this, please share this link with them so they can join the morning news briefing, right? We have a good time in here. It's 30 minutes. It's high impact, so you can kick butt all day. And if you like this conversation, come over to the Discord server. It's free. I admin it. I've got some great mods who help. It's a good community. There's a lot of good people in there doing great stuff. Guys, this Thursday, I'm super pumped. If you want to know more about GRC on the live stream, which is a hour-long format interview that I do every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come over there. We are talking to Erica McDuffie. She's a close friend of mine. She's a wonderful person. She's an incredibly intelligent professional, and she is going to tell us from her GRC extensive experience, not just how to get into the field and how to excel at it, but like how to really be a boss, understand what is just distraction and what is high value. Oh, Michael Ney has become a member. Thank you, Michael. I got a sound buzzer for members who join now. I added that this weekend. So come check out Erica's How to Dominate in the GRC Space. I'm super pumped to get her on the show. So guys, that's going to do it for Simply Cyber First Things First on January 31st, 2022. If you want tomorrow, come back 10 a.m. I teach Tuesdays and Thursdays right now, so it'll be at 10 a.m. Again, if you go to simplycyber.io/FTF, you will, you'll see all the streams. That's going to do it. Y'all have a good one. Be well. Stay safe. Thank you so much.